Hello and welcome to another TLC World Coffee Break. One day shortly after arriving at work in Hong Kong, something made me look at my work colleagues as they were arriving. And the one thing that struck me as significant is that many had looks of fear and trepidation on their faces. I didn't see one happy, smiling face. Now, some could argue that this was a one-off situation or just part of the Hong Kong culture, but unfortunately I know it's not. It's actually a common phenomenon. I say this because I've worked in the UK, Hong Kong, the United Arab Emirates and Fiji, and I've observed the same fearful expressions on work colleagues around the world. My observations are actually backed up by medical research. I read a recent article which opened with the words, "Your job may be killing you," literally. This is an epidemic that everyone should be talking about. Now, this led me to consider what the major fears are that plague people, and conclude that three of the most common are fear of death, fear of people, for example, the boss or not fitting in, and fear of what the future has to hold. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not ridiculing or putting down anyone who has these fears. In fact, my heart goes out to those I see being so worried and stressed. I'm also not dismissing the fears either, because they are real and some can focus on events that can or will happen and are certainly not pleasant. However, it's not the events themselves that are the cause of worry and stress, it's how we react to them. One thing that always strikes me when I read the Bible is that it fully recognizes and reflects human nature, and this nature has not changed over time. God, our Creator, knows us better than anyone, and He knows our fears and anxieties. He makes many promises in the Bible, and I can tell you that He always keeps His promises. Here are just a few that really put all our fears into perspective. Regarding the fear of death, Jesus, God in human form, said to His disciples shortly before His crucifixion and resurrection to heaven, "In my Father's house are many mansions. If it were not so, I would have told you. I go to prepare a place for you." That's in John 14, verse 2. Now, this promise applies to those who follow Him today every bit as much as it applied to His first disciples. When it comes to fearing people, the Bible makes the situation quite clear in Proverbs 29, verse 25. "Fear of man will prove to be a snare, but whoever trusts in the Lord is kept safe." Finally, in the case of fear of the future, the Bible puts this all in perspective in these words from Jeremiah 29:11. "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future." These are not empty promises, but they are conditional, and so also depend on men accepting the fact that Jesus is who He said He was, that is, the Son of God, and then placing one's life squarely and totally in His hands. It's all about having a God perspective on life. There's an old song that is worth quoting here as it conveys it all. "Turn your eyes upon Jesus, look full in His wonderful face, and the things of earth will grow strangely dim in the light of His glory and grace." So that's the coffee break message for today. Many thanks for watching, and I hope you tune in next week for another Spilling the Beans message. Until then, have a blessed week.